how the wind shifted, we were smelling and kind of breathing in the smoke and the soot from these burn pits 24 hours a day.
Burn pits were a familiar backdrop to life on base in Iraq and Afghanistan. Huge dump sites for pretty much anything, from styrofoam plates to electronics, chemicals, even bombed out vehicles.
When the pits would actually stop burning, because there were a lot of metals in there and things like that, they would pour jet fuel on it to sort of bring it back up and keep those flames going.
Julie Tomashka served in Iraq with the Minnesota Air National Guard in 2005 and 2007, sleeping and working in the shadow of a huge burn pit.
It permeates everything, and there's a layer of soot on everything. And everything you touch, you just can't escape the smell.
Almost a decade after her return to the US, tests revealed what was eventually deemed deployment-related lung disease.
So I've got a couple different inhalers that I need to take for the constrictive bronchiolitis and emphysema. I'm just sort of used to having a baseline of not feeling well. You know, I'm continuously out of breath and fatigued, not a lot of energy.
All right, so imagine this baking dish is a gigantic hole in the ground.
The cause has been championed by comedian Jon Stewart.
Oh, that's a burn pit.
The former Saturday Night Live host spearheaded a campaign for 9/11 first responders exposed to toxins and is now lobbying Congress on the burn pits issue.
Jon Stewart, why did you say yes to this fight?
There is no country that talks a better game for its veterans, but boy, are we letting them down in this circumstance.
The Department of Veterans Affairs recently announced that vets of the 9/11 wars who developed one of 3 respiratory conditions would be eligible for benefits. Advocates say that's not enough.
The situation we find ourselves in is that burn pits have become the Agent Orange of our generation. This one's better than that one.
Alex Morosky is an Iraq vet turned lobbyist.
The cost surely, though, is going to be prohibitive.
The cost we anticipate is going to be quite high, yes. But war is expensive, and we feel that whatever it takes to care for those when they come home with conditions who have fought in these wars, then that's what we need to spend.
For Julie Tomashka, the fight is deeply personal, not just because of her own health issues, but because her close friend and colleague, Amy Muller, died of pancreatic cancer in 2017.
She was amazing. Very loving, caring. She loved animals, and she would listen to anyone that would talk to her. She had this knack of just attracting sort of random people. If we were somewhere, they would just sense something about her and just come up to her and tell her their whole life story.
Amy Muller left behind a husband, teenage daughter, and 2 young children.
How you doing, bud? You know, my kids were so young when she died that Emmy Lou barely, remembers her. She was only 3.
Amy Muller was funny and fun and, above all, tough as nails. But she couldn't hold off the inevitable for long.
She did all the things she was supposed to do, all the chemo, the cocktail. It's 3 different chemo regimens together. She didn't even think twice, and she tried to fight for her kids, for our family. But 9 months later, she was gone.
During her first Iraq tour, she wrote this now haunting entry in a journal she kept for her daughter.
There's a huge garbage pit on the perimeter of the base. They continuously burn plastics, rubber, you name it, and the stench is out of control. I swear if I get any type of pulmonary disease, this is where it came from.
Amy Muller's family thinks the burn pits killed her.
It's infuriating to think that they would do that to their own people.
So you have a generally healthy, fit, young adult population who then comes back with often disabling respiratory symptoms.
Dr. Cecile Rose has been studying the impact of burn pits for a decade.
We've seen over 300 people in our clinic here at National Jewish Health in Denver, but I'm sure that that's just the tip of the iceberg.
So is it plausible that someone who was in Iraq 10 or 15 years ago could develop cancer as a result of exposure to these pits?
It's absolutely plausible. I think from just a biological plausibility point of view, it certainly is plausible that some cancers may be linked to exposures to things like burn pit combustion products, because we know that there are carcinogens in the smoke, cancer-causing agents.
The president has linked his son Beau's brain cancer to his deployment.
Our son did not die in Iraq, but he came back with a severe brain tumor because his hooch was just downwind from those burn pits.
Despite it all, Julie Tomaszka says she'd go back to Iraq in a heartbeat.
I felt that was very meaningful. I felt like I was contributing, to my country. I met some of the best friends I've ever had.
But she says her work now is in advocacy for others, in memory of Amy.
People are dying waiting. They're dying quite frequently waiting for care. And that's just not acceptable.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.